Hey, what's going on, guys? Rob the Warrior Strategist here, coming at you from San Diego. It is 4:57 a.m. Sunday morning. I promised I was going to do a video on this. This is a subject that is near and dear to my heart because it is relevant to all of us in the entrepreneurial sphere. This week's video is about isolation, loneliness, and with a little sprinkle of depression. Like a lot of people, I've had isolation in my life. Entrepreneurs are an odd breed, and sometimes some of us really throw ourselves at our work, or we have family situations that end up where we spend a lot of time alone. I think a lot of people are going to resonate with this video because I've posted before about entrepreneurial isolation and how we, even when we're popular, even when we're doing well in business, we still don't have robust social lives. We still don't feel accepted or a part of something. I had a really good, sorry, I've been up since 3:30. I had a really good afternoon yesterday with a friend of mine I haven't seen in probably 2 years. And he talked about the same thing because we're both in our 40s. As you get older, you know, a lot of your friends get caught up in like marriage or kids or family stuff, and their free time dwindles. And then if you're not out there like making new relationships and new friendships, you know, you're not being social. Sometimes you can paint yourself right into a corner where you spend too much time alone. And I realized this hit me real hard this week because I probably spent 7 days where I might have seen another human being twice. I have to sometimes physically walk to a coffee shop, and that'll be the only time I actually interact with people, just because this is what I do full time. I'm either working on client plans or I'm doing some video calls or whatever. I don't go clubbing. I don't do a lot of social stuff outside of like entrepreneur meetups occasionally. So, and this happened at my old apartment too. So it's definitely a pattern where just my life is kind of, I don't know, at times I absolutely just crawl into my little shell and I don't see people for a long time. And I know it's super unhealthy. I've had some really good discussions on Facebook this week about it and how I'm spending too much time just interacting with people digitally or not getting out and actually doing things, you know. And Jillian, my coach Jillian, was really adamant about this. She's like, dude, going to entrepreneurial events once a week is not a social life. It's doing business stuff, and you're not making like those legit, you know, the connections are great, but they're not a substitute for a social life. And I totally agree. So let's talk about why you should really address your isolation if you feel it's something that's becoming a thing. Because we've all been there, right? Especially because business is such a, like being an entrepreneur is such a blessing, but it also like brings a host of self-esteem and issues tied to your income. We've all ugly cried. We've all laid in our little blanket of depression sometimes. Sometimes we don't want to get out of bed. I can't be the only person out there who has just decided to drink all day and watch The Office. Okay, it happens. And once in a while, it's good for you. As long as it's not a pattern, as long as it's not happening all the time, fuck it. Once in a while, enjoy your life and just do something. If you want to be sad, be sad. You know, that's what I will say. Anywho, isolation is bad for your mental health. There have been some really interesting studies showing that loneliness and isolation are actually as bad for you as some other behaviors that are going to affect you in a detrimental way. Isolation leads to depression. It leads to a little bit of paranoia. My friend is like, yeah, when I work by myself from home after a while, like it just gets so repetitive and in such a constant pattern that cabin fever sets in. And I absolutely agree with that. You know, I don't want to be like Jack Nicholson in The Shining. I don't want to like make up imaginary friends and start hearing voices in my head because I just won't walk out and go hang out with my friends. Bottom line. Isolation messes with your self-esteem, and it also erodes friendships. And I'm starting to really realize this, that a lot of my friendships have eroded because I haven't been proactively working on them. A friendship is a relationship, just like dating someone. If I was dating someone and they didn't hear from me for weeks and weeks at a time, that relationship would not last very long. And I have to realize this. Friendships are the same way. You have to give to get. So let's talk about real quick a couple of ways to determine whether isolation's creeping into your life. Some of us have unique situations geographically. Like I know 4 to 5 friends on my Facebook that are literally snowed in. Like they live in, like Patrick Kirby lives in South Dakota, and he's literally got snow all the way around his house. My friends in the Midwest, like they're sometimes like geographic isolation happens just because of weather, and I get that. So just make sure that if you can't physically go somewhere to be around other people, that you're at least doing video calls, or you're, doing Zooms, or you have conversations with people. And I know that it's not the same as being in person, but at least you're communicating with someone, you're laughing, you're, doing your thing. But it's important to address the issue. Sometimes besides geographically, we do deliberate isolation. Maybe we're working on a big project for a few days. Maybe we're just hustling and grinding and doing all our stuff, and we kind of turn off our distractions and we flip our phone over so we don't see it, and we don't answer Facebook Messenger, and we just kind of shield ourselves from the world. If you're trying to get something done and it's legitimately a business need, that's not the end of the world. But if you find yourself hiding from the world because you don't want to deal with things anymore, and you don't feel like relationships and talking to people is beneficial, it's time to really examine your thought process. Another thing that creeps in is not building new friendships and not being social. And that's a part of the factors that lead up to isolation. I'm getting better at this. Since I got back from Vegas, I've been going to entrepreneur meetings. I've been going out of my way to talk to people that I wouldn't talk to normally, just to get out of my comfort zone and to make sure that I'm being friendly. But try to meet new people. Try and set up coffee meetings and do things that will get your face out there and that will make you new friends. I'm at this weird point in my life where I fucking hate trying to meet new people. I just don't want to even put in the effort, and I know that's a problem, and that's my own whatever. I'm in such a weird place in San Diego because I'm actually at a point now where I'm semi recognized a tiny bit. I go to events and people know who I am, and that's that I'm very grateful for that. It means that my work is paid off and I'm doing stuff that influences people and hopefully makes their lives better. But honestly, like, it's just such a weird dichotomy. I have like 5 friends. I don't have a crew of guys to go out with and do fun things with. Like, most of my friends are like family dudes in their 40s, and everyone in town. San Diego is such a weird freaking place for just trying to get people to make plans and do stuff because everybody fucking flakes. So anyway, what I did this week is I promised Jillian that I was going to address this and I was going to do something about it. And so I went out on Friday to a brewery like across the street, and I took my notebook and I just had some really good dark beer, a pretzel, and then I wrote down, what I do in business is I make processes. So I wrote down ways that I could address this issue. I wrote down 6 things I could go do that would put me around people and that would be fun. And I wrote down 20 people that I need to rekindle friendships with and reconnect with. Because I have self-isolated a little bit, and I've been throwing myself into Shift magazine and, doing all my Warrior Strategist stuff. So by doing this, I'm sending a message to the universe. Hey, I want more people in my life. I started thinking about maybe having a weekly business social here at my place. But all these little things can can attract more people into my life, and then get that phone ringing, and then make stuff happen. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this up here in a minute. I hit 10 minutes. If you are feeling like you're falling into entrepreneurial isolation, admit it to yourself, be honest about it, and then start looking at the factors of why. Are you depressed? Is business performance tying into why you want to self-isolate? Are you not making new friendships? Are you in a mental state where you really don't feel like being social, being around other people? And if any of these are the reason, take some steps, start being honest with yourself, and make sure that you're doing things to get out there and be around people again. It's important. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up. That's it for this week. Thank you for tuning in to the Warrior Strategist videos. And if you have any tips for depression or isolation or ways that you can cheer yourself up and be around people, leave them in comments. I always love hearing from you guys. Check out my blog. I write about all kinds of business issues and things related to income and health and fun and life and relationships. And if you need anything, reach out to me. This is Rob, the Warrior Strategist in San Diego, signing off.